have Julie Zellner here this evening. Did I say it right?
Zollinger.
I'm sorry, I really messed that one up.
It's fine. It's German presentation, and we should, according to my father-in-law, say Zollinger.
Okay,
So.
Zollinger. Okay, Julie is here tonight, and she will be talking with us about our sister city in Münchberg, Germany. And we're all very excited that she's here and that she brought chocolate and that it's cool in here. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this presentation. And after Julie's presentation, we have a musical performance. So if you have time and want to stay, we would love for you to stay. It's a group called Buda Loca. So
Thank you, Claudia. You're more than welcome to hop up and down and take a look at the newspaper clippings and articles, and there's even do you have ancestors in Germany if your last name is on this list, and have a snack while I'm talking, or you can wait till after, whatever you prefer. So like you said, my name is Julie Zollinger. I'm a student from Brigham Young University, Idaho. My husband and I just moved here to Jefferson City about 6 months ago, and I'm finishing my degree online, and I'm an interdisciplinary studies major, and my discipline is international studies. So I chose to do this project on an international situation here in Jefferson City, which is our partner city in Münchberg, Germany. And I'm really excited to be here. I've always been really interested in being involved in the city as well as other cultures. I served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Panama for 18 months, and I learned Spanish as well as Dulagaya, an indigenous language there. And just a year and a half ago, my husband and I returned from China for my internship, where we taught English to kindergartners and 8th graders and the Youth Olympic hockey team. So we taught them English, we did not teach them hockey. But I really enjoyed getting to know other cultures and other languages, and I'm super excited to be here where there's an active participation in the Old Münchberg Association, in the partner city, and I'm just really excited. I've got kind of a 3-part presentation here where I'd like to do a little bit of history and background on the partner city, and then I'm going to propose some ideas to maintain and improve relations between the two cities, and then I'd really like a little bit of feedback from you about what one of those ideas that I propose, or one of your own, that you would actually be participate in or get involved in, so that I can continue with that one, at first at least. So, we've got here, Münchberg's up here at the top, and Jefferson City at the bottom, and you can see that they both lie pretty inland. They are both landlocked, like I learned at Barnes & Noble when I was looking for a crab boat. There's not crab boats here because we're really landlocked. Münchberg was settled by monks over 650 years ago. It's a very old city. It's got a population of about 12,000. It's smaller than Jefferson City, but it's very similar in its landscape. The Jefferson City was made to be the capital, and it's not nearly as old. Münchberg's been through it's been through bombings in both world wars. It's been through Napoleon's invasion in the early 1800s. In fact, it was the first, in World War II, it was the first Bavarian city to be bombed by Allied troops. And Jefferson City is pretty young, and we have a lot that we could learn from a city that's old, and I'm so happy that we have that relationship with them to continue to visit back and forth, because they can provide a very different look on life in a city that's that old. The landscape, like I was talking about, is very similar because of their location on the map. We've got very similar rolling hills, very similar greenery. It's a little less humid in Münchberg, which is kind of nice. Gottfried Duden, when he was writing about his immigration from Germany, wrote about how he settled in Missouri because it reminded him of home. It looked exactly the same. And when I was speaking with Vanessa from Münchberg herself, her exact words were, "Oh, it's exactly the same. The landscape is exactly the same. She feels like home when she's here." And I thought that was so neat because it's so far away, far across the ocean, and it's neat that there's something that's so similar for us to relate to them. And it's nice that so many people came here to settle here, and that's where our heritage is from. Now, we've got a little video here of Münchberg. Jake, if you push play for us, just a couple seconds of the streets, and you can see that it's similar to Jeff City in that it's just kind of a nice downtown, but the buildings are taller, older. It's got a little less, my husband's a city planner, it's got a little less planning. It's a little closer together. And go ahead and push that one more time, so that you can see that things are just a little more squished. It's a lot older, and it's been through a lot more. I've got another video here through the presentation where you can see a little bit more of the city. Our own Old Münchberg here in Jefferson City was created by settlers from Münchberg that came here to Missouri And Münchberg, I think is how you pronounce it. Can anyone correct me on that? Is that about right? That's about right? Okay. And just due to kind of some English translation errors, we came up with Munichberg. Münchberg is about 2 hours north of Munich in Germany, and so it's kind of close to that, but there's been talk of changing the name back to the old Münchberg, and having the Münchberg Association that we have here in town, but I don't think we need to get into that. I think it's kind of interesting that we understand that history has kind of changed a little bit, but that's where they're from. Now, the agreement to become partner cities was signed by John. John, would you raise your hand? John Landwehr was the mayor here in Jefferson City when this was signed. I don't know how to get out of that.
I'll get it.
Remind me tomorrow. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, remind us tomorrow.
Remind us tomorrow. I won't be here. And then Thomas Fain. And Thomas was the mayor of Münchberg at the time, and he was extremely excited about the partnership. He and John, as well as Walter Schroeder from the old Münchberg Association, worked together to kind of put this document together to present to Thomas Fain and his city council about the partner city and the partnership and what we wanted to do with that and how it was for create. John, please.
It would be fine.
Fine, Thomas Fine.
Fine.
Thank you.
Because they're going to do this, and we want to make sure we get his name right.
Absolutely. Thomas Fine. And he was all for it. The city council was not all completely in agreement. They thought that it's really far away, Jefferson City, and it's kind of obscure. It's very long distance to travel and probably expensive. So they weren't necessarily all on board. There were a lot of members of the city council at the time that didn't think that it was going to work out very well, but with the encouragement of their sweet mayor, who was working very closely with our mayor, it worked out, and we were very glad it did, because the city of Münchberg was also considering having a sister city next door in the Czech Republic in Ledek. But as I was talking to Vanessa and as I was reading a little bit, it is a little bit easier for Germans to speak English than to speak Czech. And that might have been our little push to get Jefferson City to be the partner city of Münchberg. And I'm so glad that it worked out because of the rich heritage we have here in Missouri of German settlers. And when we look into our history, especially if you're from Jefferson City and have lived here your whole life, or you have relatives who have lived here, you can find that a lot of them have come from this area of the world that we're talking about. And I think it's really neat to be connected to your ancestors. And it's so wonderful that we have this connection alive today to continue that search and to continue that research so you can see where your relatives have come from and maybe what parts of you have come from there. So the partnership is not about business. This is in German, but it talks a little bit about how it's for just the welfare of the people. It's not about business. We don't have anything economic to gain from this partnership. It's not about trade. It's about understanding and learning and being educated on the culture between Jefferson City and Münchberg, German culture, American culture, and sharing and learning, and I think that that is the most important part. I think that that's wonderful. Now, we say sister city, which I think is totally fine. Technically, Jefferson City and Münchberg are partner cities, and that's because we don't pay dues to Sister Cities International. And I think that's a great idea, because I don't want to work on fundraisers and things just to pay dues to Sister Cities International so that we can call ourselves a sister city. Now, we don't have any budget. When our mayor was talking to Thomas Fine about getting this started, he asked if there was a budget here for this partnership, and he said no. If that was necessary, we could work some things out, but it wasn't necessary. And I think if we wanted to work towards sister city status, it's not necessary. I don't think that it's important to have the label. I think that what we've got already is beautiful. And we've got a signed consensual agreement that we are partner cities. We've had visits back and forth. We've got the heritage. We've got the old Münchberg Association. And I don't think that we need to work on paying dues just for the label. So I think that it's worked out well so far. Here's another little just clip. You can see in this one the Peter and Paul Church that stands in Münchberg, and it reminds me of a church that's right over here in Old Münchberg, and I think it's fun to see how some of even the architecture is similar. Now, as I mentioned, really one of the only differences, according to some people that I've spoken to that live in Münchberg, is that it's a little less humid. And so I think that it would be nice to visit.
The weather is really nice to be over here.
Yes. Now, who all has been to Münchberg? 1, 2. Oh, there's tons of you. Thank you so much for coming. You know all of this already. I'm so glad. Sure. Well, I have here's some ideas. This is downtown Münchberg, and I have some ideas to maintain and improve relations between the two cities, and I'd really like your feedback. You can stop me anytime, or we can talk at the end, whatever you prefer. So, this has been talked about before. I'm reading a lot about that in some of these articles over here about an education exchange program. Now, Münchberg itself does not have a university in the city limits. It does have a textile university, and that would be so awesome for me if I was a college student here to be able to go and visit and do some work there. It specializes in weaving. It's hard to get into. It's really prestigious for a textile university, and it's neat that that's right there in Münchberg. We could work with Lincoln University here in Jefferson City to see if students would be art students or art majors would be willing and interested to head over there. The thing that I think would work the best, because I wish that I had this opportunity in high school, would be to send high school students back and forth, to host German students here and to send high school students from here to Münchberg. Now, high school and middle school in Münchberg are the same age. It's if you have excellent grades and you're trying to go on and become a doctor or a lawyer, you get into high school if you've got excellent grades. And if you're just finishing your education and getting your through 12th year, you'll go to middle school. So either of those, I think, would be willing to have students from Jefferson City. Now, the high school there already has an exchange program with a school in Ireland, and then India and China also have exchange programs in the area. So I don't think that it would be hard to set that up with them. I think they're used to the idea. And I think that there are enough people in Jefferson City who would be willing to be host families for students, who would be willing to send their children. My husband is from Los Alamos, New Mexico, and that's where the United States built the atomic bomb. And in Sarov, Russia, is where Russia's atomic bomb was built, in their sister cities. And in high school, he got to go. And I am so jealous, because when I was in high school, if we'd had something like that, I would have loved that. So I think that it's something that we could definitely promote. We've got almost 3 high schools here now. I mean, there are more we've got the high school, we've got Helias, there's also the Lutheran high school, and then we've got the new public high school being built. So there's a lot of opportunity. Maybe if someone turned us down, we'd have another school to look into and get the ball rolling. We've also, another idea is cultural invitations. This seems to be the one that's working very well right now. There's a lot of events that we do here in Jefferson City that I think a lot of people would be interested in coming to. There's Stadfest, which actually has hosted members of Jefferson City in Münchberg before. That's this banner here is when Jefferson City went to Stadfest, and that's in September. And there's beer tents, there's a celebration, it's a nice fall party. When I was talking to someone from Münchberg, they said that they think that we would enjoy Wiesenfest the most, the Meadowfest, and that's in July. And it is a 4-day celebration of parades, and it's less humid. Was the reason she thought we would enjoy to go to Wiesenfest the most, because we could leave Jefferson City in July and visit Münchberg and have a wonderful season and view the festival and have a fun event. And Christmas in Germany to learn a little bit more about the culture, because I think that Stadfest, Wiesenfest, big parties, really fun, but more of a party than a cultural celebration. But when you go at a time that is a very, the city is 650 years old, there's a lot of culture in Germany that they bring out at the Christmas time like we do here. It would be so fun to go and visit that time of year. And then just having, if we had like a calendar of events from them with these things on them, and then what things are happening in the different seasons, so we could go and view the town in those landscapes, that would be ideal. And we could even just have that on the city website here, and we could make the same thing and send it there. We could often be inviting them and us attending their events, which is kind of what we're doing right now. There's kind of an unspoken, we'll go there one year and they'll visit us one year, but it isn't set in stone, and I think that it would be wonderful to have these events scheduled every year or two. We would love to come attend these events next year, and then they are becoming here for an event in the 4th of July celebration in Jefferson City, which would be so fun. So I think that this is extremely doable with what we're already doing. Now another one would be business and trade. This one, to keep it simple, I thought of making a brochure in Münchberg and in Jefferson City of hotels, restaurants, the cafes, the pubs, the bakeries, the things that we would want people to come and see, and putting discounts or coupons for Münchberg residents. When they come to visit Jefferson City, they get the Münchberg treatment, and they get the 10% off, or the whatever, and they get a souvenir from this shop, and they get to try the alcohol here, and they get to, what's the German restaurant in town? Steinhaus. Now, when I talked to Vanessa from Münchberg, she said that she was taken to Hermann, which is claimed to fame as being a very German town, and she tried the food and wasn't impressed, and was the most impressed with Steinhaus here. So, something like that.
It's German.
Right, absolutely. So I think that something like that would be fun, and then if they would create the same thing, where when we went to visit Münchberg, there would be the hotels to stay in, or somebody who's very involved in the partner city has a Airbnb, or we have that here as well, or a guest home that they'd be willing to share, and that leads right into the fourth one, which is just to visit and host. To always be willing to be a host family for the foreign exchange student if you're able to in that time of life, or to host families when they come to stay for 2 weeks for the 4th of July, and to be understanding and willing to accept the new culture when we go there, to stay with the families that would like to show you around. In the News Tribune on October 16, Vanessa wrote that the partnership can provide some exclusive benefits for Jefferson City residents: a warm welcome at the town hall, guided tours in Münchberg or even through Germany, affordable lodging, and the ability to make friends very quickly. And I think that we can offer the same thing, and I'm excited about the prospect of continuing the partnership as well as making it something that's more of a big deal. And that's what I have to say, and I really love some of your feedback on these ideas or some ideas of your own. There's just some references there if anyone wants them. What do you think?
The genealogy side of things is interesting to me. And I think maybe there might be people in Münchberg that would like to learn more about their ancestors that came here. So that kind of, and I don't know where it fits with what you're talking about.
Well, absolutely. There would be either with a cultural event where they came to do a family history, or a genealogy event where there were experts here on genealogy that could help with Ancestry.com, or to really find out more, and to tour where is it out here that there's a German cemetery in Lohman. Things like that where they can actually come and visit their ancestors' graves, and we can do the same there. That would be awesome. What else have we got? Or what's the...
First of all, I think you've done a wonderful job
Thank you.
putting all this together. I grew up here, and when I first was able to read, I looked at the homework. 90% of the names are German. Homework.
Wonderful.
And I'm half German. I'm not going to tell you which half is the other half. It's always struck me as the people here have never really gotten into their heritage.
Sure.
You know, they've never really, I don't know if the high schools teach German. I don't think Lincoln does anymore. I don't know if they do or not. I don't know if the high schools do or not. But in order to share a culture, I was part of a sister city agreement between Guanajuato, Mexico, and Salinas, where I was for a while. And they got married. They went and married the people from there, and they spent time with them. They went to university. But it all has to do with learning the language as well.
Right.
And I think that the students from here should have some German in their back pocket before they go over there, because I don't think they're going to teach classes in English over there.
Well, we need someone who is here in Jefferson City looking for a teaching job who also would like to teach German. We need to get that involved. We need to get that here.
Well, the high schools offer it,
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if they do or not. Jeff City does?
Jeff
Jeff
City
City
does.
does now.
Okay, so they've got Spanish and German.
And I don't
Jeff
think
City does.
Lincoln does, though,
Right.
And Lincoln is half the students there are Jeff City people.
Right.
That would be great. So I think you're doing a great job. Your ideas are great.
So part of the student exchange program would be to make sure that we've got our German heritage here solidified, as well as English. There are English teachers there. I know that I was speaking with Vanessa about a retired English teacher that she had who would be helpful in creating the student exchange program. But then making sure that we're in touch with the German teachers here as well.
I think the problem with
Germany and America, it's money-wise.
That's
I have
true.
cousins still living on the same farm that my great-grandfather came over from, Plains, which is about 10 minutes from Münchberg.
Wonderful.
I just can't afford to come over,
Sure.
so I get over there 4 times. Get to know them because we lost touch during World War I and World War II.
Absolutely.
And so.
And if they can't come visit, then
We got reconnected in 1997 at Country Church. And Country Church is the cornerstone of the German settlement.
okay.
And from Washington and Duncan and Ashley.
Right.
So they were willing to learn about us. But financially, no. I would love to come over. My cousin was Powell, prisoner of war, who was down in station in Texas. But he never went to Jefferson City on a train on the way to New York after the war was over. And so he went out and talked about it. But again, financially, it's very hard for a lot of people over Germany, even my cousin at home.
John, what have you got on that?
And Patty, that's a great point, and it's gotten worse, because I remember the first time we went over, we got killed on exchange rate.
Right.
Now they're
getting
now
killed
they're
on
getting
exchange
killed.
rates.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think one difference is though, now that we've developed relationships with everyone.
Right.
I think they're more comfortable to stay in our homes. Like the first time the fines came, they stayed in a hotel. The
Right.
next 2 times that they came, they stayed with us, or one other time.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And you'd be
So-
more than willing to host your cousins,
Right.
and we'd be
And I
willing
think
to
there's-
feed them and have, you
Right.
know, if we could put together the tour group and the bus and get, because I know that last year when they were planning on coming, a group was planning on coming, the reason that they didn't was the money was going towards them flying into New York and then having to get here and then only spending a day here before they had to go somewhere else, and it just wasn't set up very well. So it just needs a little more organization to be able to kind of afford the trip that they want.
One thing about that though, that was not actually accurate, because
Please tell me.
it was also the eclipse.
Oh,
So,
right.
they were coming here for a zoo.
Right.
So there was some talk about the funds. My name's Dave Williams. And
Dave, you just returned from Münchberg, didn't you?
I did, and so I have a lot of people there I talked to, and we've been several times. I think I'm up to number 7 now.
Oh,
Probably more than anybody from Jefferson City.
And so one of the things that and I'm on the committee, and we try as much as we can. I'm a city
yeah,
employee.
while you were
so,
there, did I meet your wife at John's house? Is that
Yes,
right?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
awesome. Perfect.
And so one of the things that they do look at is the exchange and how much it costs for them to come here.
Uh-huh.
And they were using a travel agent that probably, she's not here so I can say nice things about her, is not as good as who we use here for the majority of our trips. They kind of got behind someone that wasn't really,
Aware of the whole situation and.
didn't have a good plan.
Yeah, didn't have a good plan, wasn't used to doing this type of
This
thing.
will be on
And so it was going to be a critical time for us because Jeff City was very busy
During
with the eclipse.
I believe it.
And so it was, we always tell them they're welcome here, and
Absolutely.
we've had some fun times. I think the last time they came as a group, they were supposed to land in St. Louis, and they wound up flying into Kansas City, and we had to drive some vans.
Figure out how to get
Well,
up.
Yeah, and that's what the beauty of our travel agent that we use here for our trips. She was able to get them all here by
Right.
the same
Within
day.
just a couple of hours.
Couple of hours.
It was original arrival time.
Yeah.
Was it a hurricane or something that had all?
Right, they had it all diverted, and
Oh, wow.
we wound up getting vans and drivers and went to Kansas
Well,
City.
how do
and
we get her to just plan both of the trips?
We offered.
Please.
Go, Carrie, go.
Well, I love this presentation. This is very cool. Thank you, John, for getting this all started and looking forward to continuing this tradition. And I'm sure if not, that Stephanie will be recruiting you for the committee. She's
all about it.
chairing the committee to work together to plan the trips back and forth. And something fairly new that we have now is also a Facebook page where we can
Right.
post pictures. But I think just having maybe an admin or maybe another admin or two on the page that would help. I mean, you have a lot of knowledge here and ideas, but just keeping that communication going and you know, with Facebook, you can put the picture. Of course, not everybody has it. But then you can instantly see exactly what's going on here and there and the similarities between, it looks like we're looking at Jefferson City on a lot of those pictures.
Right.
Just keeping that going and figuring out a way, and love the student exchange program idea and some of the holidays and back and forth, and there may be ways. And there's so many times when, you know, Dave goes over and he continues that partnership, and Dave has even called me when people from Münchberg are coming to Jefferson City. It might just be 2 people, and we'll meet at the coffee shop and take pictures. We've even had KRCG come and like film people from Münchberg when they come here, because it's such a big deal.
Right.
Because they come here just because of the partner city.
Right. I love that.
So keep it going.
We will.
2 thoughts. I'm kind of torn because I'm German and my personality type is I have to organize everything, right?
Great.
Yeah.
You can organize it.
But I'm torn because I was on city council for a while and mayor 8 years, and the last thing I need is another meeting. But that said, maybe we need, you know, we tried to become a subcommittee of the Old Münchberg Association. Maybe we need to get a little more structured and maybe, you know, get a committee, meet monthly, okay.
Quarterly.
Maybe have a big committee and then an executive committee that meets more often. But then I just thought about, I think we could become a 501c,
Okay.
like a tax exempt organization, and maybe a 501c3, which is so that donations to, a lot of companies won't give you money
Right.
unless you're at least a 501c
Unless you've
or
got
a 501c3.
status.
So, you know, if we became a 501c3, we could go to companies and banks and have corporate sponsors and they can write it off. So those are 2 kind of structural ideas that maybe we should work toward.
Right.
And that way, you know, it's good to talk about the exchange program and the, you know, the textile university and all the great ideas, but you know, you got to implement them.
Right.
But
Now, I
also-
just got in touch with, I'm supposed to send this presentation, Ian's recording back here for me, to, I've forgotten her name, I'm in touch with her on Facebook, who the city council over there has just kind of appointed her to be
Yes.
in charge of the partnership from that end. So we've got someone over there who's working a little more actively as well.
Well, I was going to dovetail off what Carrie said with the couple coming. You know, we've gone in groups, rather large, maybe 30 or 40 people. But you know, we really need to keep encouraging people to go there if they're ever going to Germany or anywhere in Europe to plan on making a trip there, because they roll out the welcome mat for us as well. Like
Right.
both of our kids have been there. In fact, our daughter was there before we were.
Right.
And so if but having a committee that meets more often can think of ways to keep the public
That if
informed.
somebody was interested in going
Right.
even without a group, could contact and say, how do I get there? Where do I go?
Who do I contact there? Yeah.
Perfect.
I wondered when John mentioned the 501c3, if we were able to raise money, we could have maybe people from there apply for the, you know, for a grant or something.
Well, and that's
Especially
how-
the students.
Right,
Students
yeah.
especially.
I think that's a good
That's how he
idea.
got to Russia, yeah.
So I'm from Los Alamos, like my wife said, and I was able to go to our sister city as a high school student, and I was given a scholarship by the organization in town that was organizing it, and they went to different groups in the city that had an interest in sending us over there. The Kiwanis Club, the Rotary Club, people who already do donate and who are active in building community relationships, and they were able to send me over there to have an experience I would have not had if they had not donated their money and sent me on a scholarship. And that experience, I still have friends, because that was over 10 years ago, I still have friends in Russia, and it's those kind of relationships that I feel that our community needs and our nation needs, really, because I think that's what really brings us together. So having that status, I think would really, it would be easier for people to contribute, and it would be a good thing for us in building our relationship with our sister city.
I think so.
Building upon what I said about the Rotary Club, I was a Rotarian for many, many years. And in California, each Rotary Club sponsors 1 or 2 students to go overseas, and they host 1 or 2 students to come back.
Well, that's perfect.
And it's all through the Rotary Club, and the Rotary Club pays for it.
Right.
because that's one of their.
Because that
Well,
keeps our,
Rotary Club is an international division,
right.
and you have a local, international, et cetera. An international chapter pays for that, and it comes from the Rotary dues, and actually somebody comes from Rotary International.
And
So,
our local clubs are very active in that. We have
They
several
are.
that go back and forth.
Yeah.
So-
We haven't been here very long, we've already been invited to, we've been to a Rotary Club meeting, we've been to a Kiwanis Club meeting.
Well, I mean, with the exchange student, like we send them, and so that is pretty well established.
Right,
So it would be easy to jump into that.
right, see, this is what I need, we already have this, and they've already got with Ireland, and we just jump in and be another person on their list,
And the exchanges, my exchange that I went on was only 3 weeks.
which I think is perfect.
There's a lot of apprehension in sending your son or daughter away for months at a time to a foreign country. It can be
Right.
kind of
Right.
scary. And then for them too, in
To
America.
start small.
So it doesn't have to be for a long period of time. It can be a short period of time too.
I agree.
Yeah, now I don't know what time it is, I know we've got something else after, but please, keep in
We
touch
still
with
have
me.
15 minutes.
Okay.
We can talk.
Right.
Can you explain, I'm sorry that I said it wrong in the beginning. Is the Münchberg and Münchberg, did our association start with any sort of, did it exist before our partnership?
There was
City?
an author,
Yeah.
Okay.
it's in the history of Jefferson City.
Okay.
He coined this term,
Okay,
Münchberg, and
Okay.
it stuck.
Right.
okay. Was he from this area? And
Yeah, he wrote about Jefferson City.
Right.
James Ford, I think.
But then those
Ford's
that,
history?
Ford's
History,
history of
yeah.
Jefferson
Okay,
City.
Ford's
yeah.
history. Okay, well, I was confused about how, if Münchberg was born from Munich. Okay.
from my understanding it is.
You said it was just an English,
Kind of, he
Right.
coined the Münchberg and it kind of stuck. Now,
because Münchberg's in Austria, right? Is there a Munich?
there's a Munich,
Munich,
Because
Munich,
they-
but
they-
there's a Munchberg, Austria, not Germany,
Right.
right?
and now Münchberg with the umlaut is one way to spell it, but if you don't have the double dots above your U, it's also M-U-E-N-C-H, Münchberg, and that's how you could, like, if you're typing it in online type of thing, that it's spelled both ways. So it is kind of odd to try to find exactly what you're looking for, because there's rules of languages that I don't understand.
All right,
Years
I
ago, I was in
apologize.
Munich, and I asked people in Munich, where's Munich?
Right, right.
No,
we don't have one of those.
No idea.
No, okay, thank you for clarifying, and I am sorry.
No, you're great.
As your
I
greeter
didn't
this
know.
evening.